everybody. How are you doing today? So, I wanted to check in with you and give an update on this week's energy. We are leading up to the Scorpio Full Moon that's taking place on May 12th, which is a Monday. And this week is definitely a powerful week because of another buildup of energy that is really correlating to a karmic closeout, a culmination of the uprise of patterns that have been repetitive throughout perhaps many years within your life. And the emerging of these patterns and the uprise of these patterns is to really highlight the endings. I feel like I've been repeating myself, but that is the overall energy that we are in, which is just literally a series of culminations and a series of endings. And depending on where 22 degrees of Scorpio is in your chart, it could potentially be affecting you or impacting you more personally because of your natal chart. I know that this is very true for me. But when I mean karmic closeouts, I mean that Scorpio is ruled by Pluto. Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. And in one sentence, in the most mundane way to describe it, Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth, metamorphosis. But what Pluto does, the function of Pluto and Scorpio and also the eighth house, is it will excavate and it will get to the bottom line of the root of something, and it will reveal the why of the perpetuating patterns that are reaching a limitation in your life. So Pluto and Scorpio, the eighth house, is about limitations. So it will manifest into your physical reality as a way to reveal the limitations of something that which you have reached. Now, this, depending on where this full moon is happening in your chart based on the house, will actually reveal to you what types of endings are taking place, what type of patterns are showing up in order for them to be consciously confronted in order to allow them to end, to die, so that the natural version of you can actually rise from beneath the surface and emerge from the underworld. And so Pluto will go to the depths of something, an emotional dynamic within yourself that has to do with the emotional body and also the depths of your psychological intelligence, and it will penetrate in order to get to the bottom of what has reached its limits. And this definitely pertains to a previous perspective that we've had, a previous belief system that we've had. It correlates to the passing of the torch from one ruler to another, or to put in more less patriarchal, and in the words of equality would be, passing the torch from one leader to another. For example, today the new pope has just been announced. And so we're days away from the full moon in Scorpio. And this is a correlation of one leader who passed away, who had a physical death, stepped down as the Pope, and a new one has now stepped in. And so this is an example of the culmination of endings and the new beginnings starting. And in this case, it would be the seeds are being planted within the Taurus energies, right? And so this is the harvesting. This is like the growth spurt from when the seeds were planted during the Taurus new moon. And then now it's culminating during the Scorpio full moon 2 weeks later. But these time frames are more of like a bigger metaphor of a larger timeline. And so we're going to break this down in the chart. This weekly message is not necessarily about the Scorpio full moon, but it is a leading up to. Scorpio is a very intense energy. It is about power dynamics. It is about who is in power and control. It is about abandonment, betrayal, and the gross misuse of misapplied trust. The Scorpio energy is learning how to trust. The Scorpio energy in its most natural state is about pure intimacy and truth. And two energies merging together that are rooted in the purest form of vulnerability, unconditional love, and intimacy, because those energies are able to be fully in their authentic vulnerability. And so Scorpio is a beautiful energy, but it's a beautiful energy in that it is about death and rebirth. It is about metamorphosis. It is about impermanence, meaning like I am ready to say goodbye to these old patterns, to this previous version of myself that has been on repeat, as I mentioned, in order to penetrate, to get to the bottom, to get to the root of what started the pattern in the first place. In order for the conscious realization of what are my limitations now, when I step into this direction and all I'm experiencing is limitation, then I am being shown, I am confronting my own limitations. Therefore, it is time for me to let go, to allow the alchemy of that former version of myself to alchemize, to dissolve, so that the metamorphosis can take place. Because I am only limited in that direction. I am not meant to go any farther. And when we do not acknowledge this, and when we do not confront this, that creates resistance. Where there is resistance, there is distortion, there is repression, there is oppression. Pluto, Scorpio in the 8th house is about karma because it's about choices. What choices have I made in the past that led me to this point? And how can I honor those choices? Meaning, it took me those choices to get to this moment so that I could fully realize my own limitations, my own patterns, my own karma, so that I can fully liberate and free myself. I am speaking in general terms, but this is the energy of leading up to this full moon. We are being shown where our limitations are, and it's on a karmic level, meaning on a soul level. We are ready to say goodbye to this previous version so that we can fully give birth to the new that was presented to us on a soul level during the Taurus new moon. So I'm going to bring up the chart and I'm going to talk about the different aspects that are taking place leading up to the full moon. I hope that this information is helpful and it allows you to perhaps resonate with the different dynamics that are taking place within your own life at this time. Okay. So this chart is set for Los Angeles today. and the various aspects that are really significant. This Jupiter right here is squaring the nodal axis. And this Jupiter, as you can see, is squaring the North Node in Pisces, and it is squaring the South Node in Virgo. The South Node represents our past, what we are letting go of. The North Node represents who we are evolving into and represents our own evolution. And it comes down to the choices that we make that allows us to let go of the past and move towards the North Node. This is a collective energy. On a collective level, we are moving away from the old ways in which we would participate in old thought patterns, different routines that are in alignment with our health and wellness. This South Node in Virgo is letting go of all the ways in which we have not been living in alignment with our, the health of our mind and body alignment. And, Virgo is the energy of systems. So this is about letting go of an old system and creating a new system that is in alignment with who we naturally are. And the North Node in Pisces, which represents the spiritual truth within us. So it's our connection to spirit, it's our connection to our intuition, it's our connection to our heart. This South Node in Virgo, which is what we're letting go of, as I mentioned, it correlates to the overanalyzing of the mind, the overuse of the mind. Now, it's important to know that this Jupiter is in the sign of Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Well, Mercury is in Aries, and it's moving forward. It's forging ahead in creating the new path. But we have to acknowledge that Mercury is here at the end degrees of Aries. We have to go to Mars, right? We go to Mars, and Mars is actually in nearing a beautiful trine right here, about 4 degrees away from a beautiful trine with Venus. So we are coming into alignment with our feminine and masculine energies. We are coming into alignment with what feels good for us moving forward as we are forging ahead in all of the new beginnings that are starting to seed themselves. And we're already very aware of what these seeding new beginnings are. But there's like a part of us that is stuck between two worlds, that is still battling the old limitations. Pluto, Scorpio, full moon coming up on May 12th. And remember, the limitations are being shown to you not as a way to struggle or to be punished or to be challenged with obstacles. You must be able to consciously realize what your limitations are. And a lot of it has to do with our thoughts that have been formulated from a previous belief system, Jupiter, that is no longer in resonance with our self-love, our self-value, and who we are within our natural state in our heart. So this square from Jupiter to the South Node and to the North Node is creating a tension within us that is asking us after every thought, is that really true? Is that really in alignment with who you are? Is that really what you believe? Do you believe that to be true? And this can actually drive you into like a spiral of thoughts, and soon to be recognized as, no, that is not my truth. I objectively recognize those thoughts as something previous that shaped a former reality that I'm now having to clean up the mess with, right? But again, it's karmic. So these are lessons. We have been learning the lessons that have gotten us to this point. And without the mistakes from the past, we're not learning. And so this Jupiter is really highlighting and shining a light on what our truth is now, what our belief systems are now, who we are now, and what are the changes that we want to make when it comes to our thought patterns so that we can embrace letting them go and moving forward towards what intuitively feels true to us, and to really believe in ourselves, and to know that we are our own authority, that we don't need validation from external sources. The Scorpio full moon, we are leading into a true renaissance of empowerment. And so another important aspect to cover is, the Scorpio full moon is ruled by Pluto. Pluto is an Aquarius, still technically in an opposition with this Mars. So there is definitely still a sense of, I surrender my will to thy will. There is something greater than myself, a force greater than myself that has to do with my soul and what created this reality, where I am meant to just surrender and trust. And as this Pluto is still opposing this Mars, this Pluto is ruled by Uranus in Taurus, right here, which is nearing a conjunction, a balsamic relationship with the sun. And again, these two are ruled by Venus, who is again in a trine to Mars. So we are approaching lightning bolt changes that can happen rather quickly, as long as we are surrendering to the universal spirit and really what is guiding us from within. What is your inner voice telling you? And what are the practical steps that you can take as these lightning bolt changes are happening? This is going to happen on a collective level. This is going to happen in our personal lives. It's already happening and it's already boiling. And so when this full moon in Scorpio perfects, this Pluto will be squaring this Mercury at 3 degrees, which is really going to be a crisis in action moment where it will challenge you and really thrust you into thinking something through and looking at the options, taking your time. Is it worth investing? Is this worth my time? And it's really going to allow you to make the best choices possible for yourself as these culminating and karmic endings are taking place related to the limitations that you have reached within your emotional and psychological dynamics within yourself and with others. And so we must remember that leading up to this full moon, we are actually being supported and nurtured with the messages that are coming through where change is absolutely inevitable. And this year, I mean, we've been experiencing change for so long. And really, when you look at our realities and when you look at impermanence and evolution, change is always happening. But these are at a very significant and karmic level in order for us to truly align with where we're going in the next 5 to 10 years. And so there's an initiation and a preparatory process that's taking place. And the most important thing to remember is that your soul is guiding you. And the more that you hold on to the grip of resistance, the less you're going to actually evolve and move forward into that alignment between this Mars and this Venus, which is really allowing you to be in harmony so that you can move forward into these new beginnings. And so I'm going to end it there. This is a very significant time for us to I'm actually going to add one more thing. This Jupiter, while it's squaring these nodes, it's trining this Pallas Athena and then this Lilith, which is absolutely beautiful because these represent the divine feminine. Pallas Athena is the goddess of creative intelligence, and she is a rapid fire manifester. She is connected to higher intelligence and objectivity. She is related to Libra and the Aquarius energies of equality, natural law, giving, sharing, and inclusion. And then here we have Lilith, the representation of the most undistorted version of you and your feminine energy. She represents the original woman. She is whole into herself. She compromises for nobody, and she is rooted in equality, giving, sharing, and inclusion. That everybody has a purpose, and that we all matter. Jupiter is ruled by Sagittarius and the 9th house. This correlates to truth, exploring higher learning, higher knowledge, philosophy. It correlates to our belief systems. As I mentioned, Jupiter's in Gemini are ruled by Mercury, our thoughts, the human mind. Jupiter correlates to our intuition. So this Jupiter in Gemini is asking you, are these thoughts in resonance with your truth? That is in resonance with your heart, that is in resonance with your intuition. And this trine is allowing these two asteroid goddess, divine feminine energies to hold you accountable in honoring your nature, your role as an individual within the collective, equality, giving, sharing, and inclusion. The timeless principles of universal law. These divine feminine energies are empowering you to stand strong in your truth, to honor your renewed belief system that is in resonance with your self-love and your values. Listening to our intuition is always significant. And if we don't know how to do that, it's time to go within and ask, what can I do to connect with my intuition? And that's a lot of what Yoniswell offers. There are multiple ways, there are infinite ways that we can connect to our intuition. It starts with knowing and believing that it's safe to go within and to ask. And so this week and leading up to the Scorpio full moon is extremely powerful. And it's meant to empower the individual within the collective towards liberating from previous conditioning and harnessing the change that's happening as a supportive energy and as a way to break free, to confront our own limitations, as a way to be the butterfly, to metamorphose from the caterpillar into the butterfly. And so I'm going to share one more thought. This series, the goddess of harvesting, the great mother, she is balsamic to Saturn. And again, Saturn is our conditioning. Saturn is our boundaries. It is restriction. It is what makes up our container of consciousness. In Ceres is the great mother. In the myth, she is the mother of Persephone. And Persephone gets kidnapped by Hades and taken into the underworld. And Ceres experienced so much loss and grief over losing her child. She is the goddess that then turned the seasons into what they are now. And so when we look at the seasons, she was the one, because of her rage, because of her grief, because of her anger, she turned, she created fall and winter. And though that represents the time frame of when Persephone was still kidnapped in the underworld. And eventually she was able to get Persephone back. And that's what represents the spring and summertime. My point is that she represents how we experience grief and loss. The idea of losing a child, losing something that represents a child. She also is the goddess of harvesting. And so she represents the purest form of your nurturing mother nature within yourself as the archetype of you being your own mother. In those times when it feels like the world is ending within your reality, she is the energy of the nurturer within you. And so she is balsamic to Saturn, meaning she is culminating. She is playing a part in the culminating of a 30-year cycle of a former reality, while she has already been seeding and planting the new beginnings that you are perhaps already experiencing. So overall, during this, she will still be balsamic to Saturn during this full moon in Scorpio. And the best way to work with her energy as she's like going through the birth canal, the restricting like pressure builder of being balsamic to Saturn, is how can you nurture yourself? How can you remember that you are your own resource of kindness and compassion and love? And I'm going to end it there. So that said, Yoniswell offers various resources for connecting to your intuition. And this Saturday, we actually have a workshop where each week we focus on a chakra within the 7 chakra system. And then we talk about it through an archetypal lens of the different astrology signs, the planetary rulers, and we include the asteroid divine feminine goddess rulers. And what this does is it really allows you to absorb the archetypes and how to get to know each chakra and what it represents within your body's consciousness. And when we do that, we cultivate a deeper connection to our intuition, to where our body is communicating to us and we are receiving these messages. Our bodies are the most advanced technologies that we have. And we as a collective, as humanity, have forgotten this. We are powerful healers. We are powerful beings of light in human form that are here to help move humanity forward and to help Mother Earth evolve as we are all evolving within the universal system. That said, please check out the offerings that we have. We have a Taurus birthday session happening right now where we look at your natal chart and your solar return chart for only $75 for 90 minutes. Please reach out, share your comments below. How is this energy feeling for you right now? We have more offerings that you can find within the description box below. I am celebrating this Scorpio full moon with you. I am sending you oceans of love. And thank you for being here. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. Thank you for being here. I appreciate every one of you, each moment that you're here. And I will see you on the next one. Have a beautiful day, beautiful weekend.